Said I'll have a blue Christmas without you. Hey, welcome. How you doing? I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. Hey, we're going to go over the December. This is the Afterfight Afterthought for the December 19th fight between Callum Smith and Saul Canelo Alvarez. And what we do is we go in kind of like what both fighters are looking at going into the fight. We'll talk about the fight, and then we'll say where they're going after that. So we look at Callum Smith. You know, he's the WBC super middleweight champion of the world. Everything is, or the WBA super middleweight champion of the world. And he's coming up 27-0. He's looking great. You know, he's the champ. And there's questions. Right? He's got questions to answer. There's no one on his record that's really says, hey, you were the absolute man in the division. He hasn't beaten a Daniel Jacobs. He hasn't beaten a Benavidez, Billy Joe Saunders. You know, there's a whole lot of Caleb Plant. I mean, you got to go down the list before you finally get to like number 8, John Ryder, to see. So there's a lot of questions there as to where he is going and what he needs to do. And coming into this fight, he's taking a risk. He's fighting a smaller man. He's also taking a lot of money. So, you know, I guess that's where the risk comes in, right? No risk, no reward. Coming in, he's going against Saul Alvarez. It's almost a lose-lose for him if you think about it in the long run. If he wins, he beat a much smaller fighter overall, and a guy that shouldn't be coming up into the 168. If he loses, he lost to a much smaller fighter. And, you know, he's going to be exposed. And he does take a chance in that coming into this fight because Alvarez's style kind of complements his in a bad way. We go over to Saul Alvarez. And of course, Alvarez risks everything every time he fights, as now he's coming up and he's basically able to pick and choose whatever fight he wants to have, right? He had the Triple Gs, he had the Daniel Jacobs, he had the Kovalev when he jumped up to light heavyweight, which I don't see him doing ever again. But we see this, and now we see him going for Callum Smith and shooting for the not only the WBA title that Callum Smith holds, but the WBC. So he's got the pound-for-pound world rankings on him. He's and with these kind of fights, you can tell that he's picking and choosing. So there's a lot of weight on his shoulders as well to win. And because, as I just said, Callum Smith's style is almost tailor-made for how Alvarez fights now. You know, with the high hands coming straight forward, closing distance, you know, and the counter-punching and forcing, you know, the bigger guys to be on their back foot, which is something they're not used to doing. So we go into the fight, and it's pretty evident there's an obvious size difference there. But it's also evident that Callum Smith isn't using that size in a sense. But let me rewind that a little bit. Rewind just a little bit when we look at Canelo there. And he still has everything to lose if he is to lose this fight. But he can always drop back to lower weights and go, well, it was just too much for me, and I need to stay in the 160, that 154, 160 range, and not jump up to the bigger guys. Okay, back into the fight. As we look there, we notice Callum Smith, I mean, he's doing nice. He's throwing a lot of jabs, 1, 2, 3 jabs, occasionally throwing the right hand as well, really looking to try and get in there. I actually had him taking two rounds early in the fight. By the time it was in the 5th round, it was all kind of downhill there. Again, spends way too much time on the ropes in that 5th round when you were looking at that. Lots of jabs though. Canelo's a lot more active when he gets into the 6th round. Smith's eye is starting to look a little bit rough there. and in the 7th, we see more of that. And with the swelling, Canelo's cutting that ring off. Nice uppercut by Smith. Canelo, again, with an uppercut himself. And Callum Smith constantly going back into the ropes, not spending enough time off of the ropes, and doing what's best for him is utilizing that massive reach and keeping Canelo off of him. What we're also noticing, though, is even though Canelo is hitting him flush and hitting him with really good shots, that size difference, because, I mean, we're looking at Callum Smith's probably 190 pounds in the fight, so his punches aren't having as big of an effect on these bigger guys. Yeah, he's a better boxer. Yeah, he's a better this. Yeah, he's a better that. But when it comes to the power, we're not seeing that really carry over as you're starting to fight these bigger guys. He knocked out Kovalev. I'll give you that. He knocked out Kovalev. However, it's Kovalev. Every fight he's lost, he's been knocked out. Okay. 8th round. Smith's on the ropes. Again, jab. And he's landing jabs. Canelo's using and landing power punches. So when you think of it that way, where is this fight going and where are the judges going to be looking at? Yeah, you landed 3 jabs. That's great in the amateurs. Counts as much as a right hand or left hand, depending on what type of fighter you are. But not in the pros. You have to land punches of significance. Again, there's a big right hooks coming in by Smith, so you like seeing some of that. But again, that was another Canelo round. In the 9th round, big overhand right, landing, big rights landing by Canelo. It was a big round for Canelo, and probably his best round. And Callum Smith is now finally starting to show that he's wearing down. If you looked at my prediction video, I talked about that's what Canelo does. Is he's not necessarily that one-punch knockout artist, but he has a cumulative effect on people. And you see it starting to take effect in that 9th round. In the 10th, it looked like Canelo Alvarez was absolutely going for it. He was trying to get Callum Smith out of there. Callum Smith's in great shape. He's able to take those punches and weather them because of his size advantage. And Smith's, he was getting walked down literally, and you could see that he was going for the knockout. And again, this round might have been better for Canelo than the 9th round. The 11th round, again, Canelo's more active. He's landing the harder shots. He's closing the gap. It seems like Smith's fading more and more. His eye looks bad. Canelo looks fresh, like he just got in there, which was kind of impressive to see his stamina up there. But keeping the high hands, not throwing 900 shots in a fight, kind of helps out in that. In the bigger guys, they don't throw as many punches, and if you can make a miss, which Canelo did a lot of. There was one point in the fight where Canelo made a miss like 4 in a row, like just that little movement, in there. In the 12th there, you got the jab, the right, the left by Alvarez. He's really pouring it on him. He was trying for the knockout, trying to get him out. Ultimately, he doesn't. And in the fight, if you had it 118, 110, 117, 111, I could see that easily. The 119, 109, or 120 to, the blanking there of 108, I don't see that. But, now you have a Callum Smith who's going to be kind of just grabbing for stuff there, because I don't know if this is really the weight for Alvarez. He's going to get in with guys that are more powerful. He's going to get in with guys that are going to not let him impose his will on him. When a wall hits a wall, you know what I'm saying? And that could pose a lot of trouble for him. I don't know if 168, definitely I don't believe 174 or light heavy is a place for him. I think 160 is fantastic for him. But we look at Callum Smith, and now Callum Smith, he's looking at Daniel Jacobs, David Benavidez, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant. All these super middleweights in there that are going to be definitely gunning for him. And we'll have to see what Saul Alvarez is going to do now. So Callum Smith is, in a sense, going to have to take a back seat and see where Saul Alvarez decides to go before he can go. Well, unless he wants to fight like a guy that's ranked in the low 20s, like Triple G does, for a title, I guess, and then see what happens there. And that's where it gets interesting with Saul Alvarez, as we look, as basically Callum Smith's in a holding pattern now, unless he wants to fight one of the lower guys in his division, as Saul Alvarez can now call all the shots, in a sense, in that division, because he's got the win over Daniel Jacobs. That would be I would like to see that at 168. I would like to see that fight at 168. David Benavidez, I don't know if he's going to try and go for some of these guys. That could be a little bit of killers in there. I don't know if he's going to try that. But I could definitely see Saul Alvarez going for Triple G again, as we just saw Triple G beating up Camille Shivamenta, who didn't deserve a title shot. Not for an IBF, not for an IBO, nothing. Yeah, so I don't see how that is going to actually get him any favors in that. And it's a dangerous fight for Alvarez, and Alvarez already basically has, kind of like 2 wins over him, if you think of it that way. He lost some. So, how that's going to go there, we'll see. He lost a majority decision. There was a split draw in there, or split decision, however that went. So, the draw. So I guess there could be a definite trilogy fight in there, because if the money's there, Alvarez is going to be there, and that's what he's looking for. And I think that would probably be a good one, because Triple G's not getting any younger. He's 37 now, at least, I believe. Let me look. I don't want to get age checked. 38. So he's going to be looking at 39, 40. Alvarez is 30, so he's got time, and time doesn't help you as a fighter. It's really against you from the time you start. The clock starts ticking on you. So we'll see how that goes. But again, Alvarez is going to be able to call the shots from here on in. Callum Smith is going to have to basically sit there and wait and take whatever Alvarez decides not to do. If Alvarez goes back down to middleweight, which I think he should, I believe that's his best area. And then Callum Smith can continue and hope and fight the other guys, and we'll see how that goes. But this is where you're going to see a David Benavidez, Daniel Jacobs, all those other guys really coming up and trying to take over. Right, Eduardo? Yeah. Hey, if I don't put out another video, hope you all have a happy Christmas. Enjoy your holidays. Have some amazing happy holidays there. And keep continuing on. Keep being safe. Keep staying healthy. And keep punching. Right, Eduardo? All right, we ready? I'm out.